So when I build rehab programs for gymnasts, I would say the majority of my time, along with the basic squat hinge, is spent in either the split pelvis or the single leg position. Just because gymnastics is much more of a single leg sport, you're landing on kind of one side, you're doing many things sprinting or running off of one leg. So the single leg development is usually more user friendly as a low barrier to entry, but it also transfers a little bit better over to gymnastics. So we're gonna go through 5 of the main categories that I like. So number 1 is gonna be a low box step up. Okay, so starting with no body weight, okay, she can go step up here, hands on the hips and press up. If the box is too high, we can use a lower one. If she needs some help, we can put a TRX in front of her and have her assist her way up. Okay, but basic body weight is what we're kind of looking for. From here, we will just progress these and do these with loaded movements. Okay, so now she's gonna go hands by the sides. She will do a single leg step up with dumbbells in her hands. Okay, very good hip dominant motion, but it also allows the athlete to kind of get some dynamic stability on the way up and eccentrically load on the way down. Okay, the single leg hinge version that I really like of this is going to be a single leg weight hip lift on the ground. So first she'll just start body weight the same way we did with the single leg version, but hands go up. She'll bring one leg up in a bent knee position and she'll drive straight up. Okay, so she's driving through the floor. Again, it's mimicking that split pelvic position, but it allows you to load one hamstring or one glute quite a bit more. Now, we're not going to show it here, but I really like putting a sandbag on here, putting some chains on here, or something else to make it a lot more demanding on the athlete. Okay. After this, the next version I really like for single legs will be a single leg squat. So the same way we progressed our body weight squats, we're going to progress our body weight single leg squats. If they need a TRX assist, you can put that right in front of them like we talked about. But most athletes do pretty well with a modified height single leg box squat down. So from here, again, as we increase the demand, if someone needs a counterbalance, we can do that well. She can grab the plate behind her and easily do a counterbalance if that version is too much for her, because again, the posterior weight shift is balanced out by the front of the plate or the kettlebell here. Okay. From here, obviously we can do some more progressions where we're increasing the height to go without the box. She can start to hold a goblet and do a single leg squat, but those are very good ways to load these up pretty well before we move into more dynamic plyometrics. Okay. The next version we want to try to look at is some sort of a Romanian deadlift or an RDL. When we do this first, it's hard to do it sometimes with a dowel. So the other version I like is doing a kickstand RDL, where about 50% of the weight bearing is put on the back for balance and 50% is put on the front. Okay, we're still loading the hamstring pretty heavy, but this will be more of a strength balance biased one versus when we start lifting up the foot, it's going to be more of a actual dynamic stability challenge because one foot is doing all the surface area contact. Okay, so from here she would do a basic single leg RDL, and what I cue people to do is drive the back leg forward as they reach their front hand out just to start. Okay, so she'll drive her hands forward as her leg goes back to work on that balance. Then as she feels comfortable, the hands will start sliding down the shin because that's going to mimic where the weight will be. Okay, so a single leg RDL just goes to mid shin. We don't have to go super low. Back is nice and flat, driving that posterior weight shift. And then eventually we grab the dumbbells and we will do exactly what we did with the rest of the exercises, which is going to be a basic single leg RDL. Okay, so she will drive straight down, loading the hamstrings, driving back up, squeezing her glute on the opposite side she's standing on. Okay. The last thing we haven't really talked about a lot that's very important is doing some sort of lateral movement to try to load the single leg on the hip on the outside. So the way we like to do this is going to be a Cossack squat. Okay. First, again, with body weight, driving herself to the side of the wedge. If she needs a counterbalance, this is another really great way for you to do that, is drive the plate out from your chest as you descend into the squat laterally, and it helps, again, keep the torso a little bit more balanced and upright. Okay. Eventually, though, the goal is to do this without any counterbalance and just hold a goblet right to your chest. Okay, and you can start with the box, just as we did before, and then eventually she will step away from the box and she will do a full lateral Cossack squat or a sideways squat. Okay, so very good progressions that you can use here. Again, you could build an entire program out of great single leg work with a couple of extra hinge and squatting variations, but all of these things will be wrapped up to get you from the very beginning doing a TRX assist or some sort of counterbalance with modified depth all the way through to loaded variations where you're increasing the range of motion, you're increasing the load, and you're increasing some of the eccentric component or the pause in the tempo work.